I want to talk about what I think is perhaps the most important component, and that's what we're looking at going forward, and that's the hybrid cloud. The hybrid cloud is so critical to what it is that's going on in this place. And if you were to actually ask Amazon 2 years ago if there were any other clouds, they probably would have told you no. But that obviously is not a sustainable narrative, given the fact that the private cloud is actually growing more rapidly at this point than the public cloud is. And so they've decided that, and AWS and everybody else has decided that the private cloud is an area of focus, because in order to deliver against the hybrid cloud, they need to be relevant in the private cloud. And that's why AWS, Google, and Microsoft have delivered Outpost, Anthos, and Azure Stack. But private cloud is just a component part of the hybrid cloud, right? It also includes the edge. It also includes other Kubernetes platforms. And one of the things that's such a big challenge here is that they're only focusing on one area, whereas MinIO is focused on every one of those areas. So why does MinIO win the hybrid cloud? First of all, we have a huge head start, right? We have more than 7.7 million IPs right now running in AWS, Azure, and GCP today. We got another 6 million in the long tail, the Hertzens, the Bouygues, the OVHs of the world. We got there, not because we're in their marketplaces, but because developers brought us there because of our expertise in S3 and Kubernetes. And our Kubernetes leadership also puts us on all of those platforms, those Kubernetes platforms that we mentioned earlier. So VMware's platform, Ezmeral, OpenShift. We're committed to be everywhere that Kubernetes is, and that allows us to be in all those places. AWS and Google and Anthos and Outpost aren't going to be in those marketplaces for VMware, for example, because it's antithetical to an appliance model. You can't containerize an appliance. So our hybrid cloud strategy is actually pretty simple and very achievable. We don't have to be better than AWS on AWS. We have to be better than AWS everywhere outside of AWS. We have to be better than them on the private cloud. We have to be better than them at the edge. We have to be better than them on Google. We have to be better than them on the VMware ecosystem and the OpenShift ecosystem for Kubernetes. That's eminently achievable. We're already achieving it today. It's what's happening. It's actually what is going on. There's a concerted strategy that you see when you get to 7.7 million IPs in the cloud. That's enterprises bringing us there. That's a concerted hybrid cloud strategy on their part. So again, our goal is to be everywhere that you see, right? Everywhere in the private cloud, we're going to be everywhere in the public cloud, and we're going to be on every Kubernetes distribution, and we're going to be everywhere on the edge. And that allows us to win the hybrid cloud, which we argue is the biggest prize of all when it comes to object storage. We're going to skip over this slide for the purposes of just time, but you can actually use the public cloud in our model to be cold storage. And our new capabilities in ILM allow us to basically tier data up into those for certainly long-term storage. And we can now use them in the same way that, that object storage has been used in the past for that archival component. So listen, when we started this, we told you that we were going to talk about three things. And if you remember these three things, remember any three things, I want it to be these three things. So one is that we're leading the way when it comes to Kubernetes storage. Kubernetes equals object storage in the cloud, and we're number one when it comes to Kubernetes object storage. We're the most broadly deployed, we have the highest penetration, and we're the most native. And so we like our chances there on a go-forward basis. We're continuing to relentlessly push our competitors to be more cloud native. They're not by nature. And as a result of that, we like our chances there as well. We're doing a lot of things that we didn't talk about today, active replication, which nobody else is doing. Sidekick, KES, the VMware, all of these things are huge component parts of what it is that we're doing. And we think ultimately at the end of the day that we are uniquely positioned to win the hybrid cloud. Again, we don't have to be better than them in AWS. We just have to be better than them everywhere else. And we're off to a huge head start. And by the way, we already have those, X million IPs in AWS. So we're winning across the board. And we think it's going to be a remarkable year for us going forward.